One thing I remembered, though, was how passionate he was about the law.
You become the best at what you can be of your job, your role, whatever it is, money will follow.
Yeah, I was doing it for the community. I was doing it for that young black dude that thinks that he can't be a lawyer, and he's looking at me on TV and he's like, dang, look at Vic, he's on TV.
We had an employee. She had a disability. She still has a disability. And she would Uber to work every single day. Didn't have a car. Single mom, 2 kids. Me and Jeremy together, we ended up buying her a car. It's not about money. It's not about the cars. It's not about the house. Yeah. But when you can leave an impact on someone for the rest of their life, to me, that's success. Jeremy and I were brought in each other's lives to do what we've been able to do. And that's been to like make history.
Hey guys, we realize a lot of you are coming to the page and enjoying the content, but we see a lot of you still aren't subscribed. And so if you could click that subscribe button, it'll help our channel grow and give you more episodes with a lot of amazing individuals. Now I see how, the opposites still have the good dynamic, and it's like literally the blue side of the brain, orange side of the brain. So I went to school for media and psychology.
Okay.
And so logistics, creativity. And so when you mesh both of those together, like usually they say you're more gravitational towards one side. You're either really creative or really logistical. And the neuroplasticity around that, being able to mold yourself into a combination of both, typically comes from partnerships.
Yeah.
And so, wow, 2020, 2019, I don't know why I felt like it was longer. And that's a testament to how you guys build your business, because it feels like you've been a business that's been around for 15 years, 20 years, a decade almost. And to hear you say that, it was like, oh, we almost started a business around the same time, like ours was like 2018, but my first LLC was 2009, and so just seeing the test of time and even starting something like you guys started in 2020 that's a challenge in itself. Opening a firm during COVID.
We didn't know COVID was going to happen. So remember, COVID happened in March.
Yeah.
So it kicked in March.
Damn.
And we were already open and we're like, what's about to happen?
Damn.
But we're going to figure it out,
Oh my gosh. Okay. So now, you guys meet up, you make the partnership and everything. For the people in the audience, as a gem drop kind of segment, what would be the main focus after you say, hey, want to be partners? What do you have to do to make this an actual reality? Okay, we're partners. Now what?
I would say the biggest thing you're going to focus on is first, you know your partners, but you got to figure out what your division of jobs are. Like what are you handling? What am I handling? How are we splitting that up? What are we working on together? Aspects. Because so first it's the mindset. It's the growth from there. The actuality of it is what comes after that. So then the actuality is, okay, so now we know what we're really dealing with, but what do we need as a way to build that? How do we get to that goal? So you would look at, okay, we need an office space. We need these type of background. We need these legal backgrounds. We need these entities, these bank rolls, all this other stuff that we had to figure out. So we start building before we actually plan to open the door, because you're doing that in the back of the mind, because you don't want to open something and then be like, okay, well, I'm spending the next 3 months just dealing with the formation of this entity, the bank accounts and those type of things, where you can't even actually do the work you need to do to start building income. Because in our field, you're building receivables, personal injury, workers' comp. I can get a $20 million case tomorrow. I'm not getting that payment tomorrow. I'm signing that person up. That person now we go through a whole process, and that process can be 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And during that whole time, I'm only paying stuff. I'm paying costs. I'm paying things like that. I'm not making a single dollar. So you've got to know that you're ready to start that business and be able to grow from there, and know that you are delaying gratification. The longer you can delay gratification, the more you can make. In almost every aspect of life, if you look at it that way, that's a true statement. The longer you can delay rewarding yourself, the more that you can make out of it. So you've got to learn to reinvest in the thing you're building. So when we first started, I don't think we paid ourselves for, it's either 8 or 9 months.
Wow.
Hey guys, Jeremy Dover from the Demesmin Dover Law Firm. As always, we're here for the people. You need us for anything you need. Car accidents, slip and fall, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, even victims of sexual abuse. We're here for the people. We're always here to represent you 24/7. Anytime you need us, 866-954-MORE. That's 866-954-6673. Or always at youraccidentattorneys.com. Here when you need us, we're always here. People thought we started off with a bunch of loans or some money from there. We threw in $25K each, and that was it. That was the only money we threw in. We lived very frugally for the next 8 months, trying to just pay bills and do what we had to do. And most of our time was spent working. We'd travel up to Tampa for a week, 2 weeks at a time.
Did you guys get like an apartment together?
And we would just stay in the cheapest hotel you
But
could
we
find.
ended up getting an apartment for a year.
We did end up getting an apartment in Tampa at one point because we were up there so often.
Mhm.
But at the beginning, we were like, okay, so what do we do? So we go up there for a week or so and stay in the cheapest.
We got an
hotels I could
argument
find.
about that one.
Yeah.
Because he would get like the freaking motel. And I'm like, where are we at right now? But again, that goes back to what I was saying prior to where he's just like, hey, we got to survive.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, bro, I can't survive like this, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, long story short, ended up working out, right?
Mhm.
And piggybacking off what he said, I talked to him in the summertime.
Mhm.
So from
Yeah.
the summer, we had about 4 months
To plan.
to plan,
Mm.
right? But one thing I wanted to make sure that we didn't do, I didn't want our planning to take away from our work for the firm that we were currently at. I owed
Actual
the
execution.
respect
Mhm.
to them to make sure that we still did our work, showed up to work, gave our time, handled the cases that we were still, given.
Mhm.
I didn't want it to be a situation where it was like, screw them and we're doing this thing. Even when we gave our notice, I told them that we would be able to stay on for an extra month.
Mm.
And it's not that we needed to stay on for an extra month. It was more we understood our roles and our responsibilities for that firm, and we didn't just want to dip out on them like that, right? We wanted, because they were the first firm to give me an opportunity.
Yeah.
Young black guy, all Jewish firm. I think at the time I was probably one of the only black attorneys there,
Mm.
right? And I was very close with all those guys, and they gave me an opportunity. So even through our trials and tribulations afterwards, I will say that no matter what, I'll always have respect for them, because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't even be doing personal injury. Because remember in my story, I was supposed to go do real estate law,
Yeah.
right? And then my dad was like, we're going to start this firm. And I started working for them. And I was like, I'm not doing real estate law anymore. I'm going to sue these insurance companies. Because that's, for me, that was a better route for me, right? But if it wasn't for them, I would have never learned how to do that, right? And then once we start the firm now, after we've done all of our planning, this is another thing that our staff sometimes doesn't understand, is that at one point, me and Jeremy were HR. We were the janitors. We were the ones doing all the things that they're doing, because we didn't have the money to have staff. And, we were just starting off. We had like 1 or 2 staff members at the beginning. We were doing all the tedious little tasks that they do now. We were doing it back then, which is good too, because in order for us to be good leaders, I think good leaders have to know what, the staff is dealing with on an everyday basis from a practicality standpoint, so that you can scale, so that you can grow the right way, correctly.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think all of those little things that we had to go through helped us. But also, like you said before, 2020, that was only 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And even though it was only 5-6 years ago, it feels like a long time for us too. Right. Even though you said yourself that, dang, I felt like you guys were doing this for a long time. I feel like we've been doing it for like 15, 20 years, because there's so many things that we've gone through in 5 years, like experience wise, learning, just dealing with staff, just dealing with people, dealing with business, marketing. I can go on and on and on, that I think we've gotten even better at what we're doing, and we're just continuing to grow. We're continuing to stay grounded. We're continuing to give back to the community. And again, for me, it's just a blessing that we have the platform that we do to give back. And that's the most important thing.
No, 100%. Wow. And so that makes me think about like 2 things. One, you might not be able to answer 100%, at least on camera, but
Depends who you're asking.
true. But, how relatable or how real is the TV show Suits?
Fake, but I don't know if he wants to go. You watched it?
Yeah.
So what's that annoying guy's name?
Mike or
The bald head guy?
Harvey? Or
No.
Lewis Lit?
Lewis.
So
yeah.
Jeremy's Lewis.
No, not at all.
So Jeremy's
Anything
Jeremy's
I'm Mike
Mike Ross.
because I'm Mike.
I'll take Harvey Specter, right?
Okay.
But Jeremy, and the reason why I say Jeremy's Mike Ross is because I don't know if you remember the show. Mike Ross had like he had like photogenic.
Yeah, he can remember the whole
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Jeremy will literally regurgitate like a novel to you after looking at it for like 30 seconds. That's just how he is, right? Everybody learns differently. I'm more of like a visual guy. Like sometimes when Jeremy's trying to explain some crazy idea to me, I'm like, all right, stop, pause, let me get a notepad. Like show me,
Yeah.
right? But going back to your question, some parts of it is real, like you will see that, but a lot of it is acting. It's TV show. There's certain things that, and most lawyers you ask will tell you like that would never happen.
So what about from the standpoint of like firm versus firm?
Like the competitive side of things?
Yeah.
Oh, that's real.
No, that exists. It's just more of the micro aspects of the show that don't like. We analyze it as lawyers, like, oh, well, he's handling all these random variety of cases that make absolutely no sense to his field. Like, you're corporate, you're transactional, you're criminal. You don't do them all, especially at the level that he was at as a managing partner. You're not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to defend this guy in this criminal suit or this libel suit for no reason. It's not your field. You may have someone in the house that does it, and you're going to send it off to them. You also don't have the time to be able to be, and like the way that they're able to like for 5 days straight focus on one case and have no one else interrupt them with another case is insane. Like to think about with how much you're dealing with.
Now it could happen. Depending on the type of firm, right? If it's a volume firm, then no, right? But some firms are very boutique, right? And they only handle 5 cases a year, but big cases, right?
Got it.
So a firm like that could sit there for 5, 6 a month and focus on one case.
Got it. What kind of firm are you guys?
We're more volume, right?
Okay.
Because we get a lot of accidents, and so sometimes we get some of these big catastrophic cases, but the fact that most of those firms that are like boutique, they don't barely even advertise, right? Because
but I
people
would
know who they are.
not classify them as boutique in terms of suits. Suits is corporate, so it's like it's the big corporate firm. It's the big guys you see who don't have to advertise, represent the Amazon, the Tesla, the people
know
like
who
that.
they are.
They get their from other people who are referring their business. They have a immense amount of work. Like it makes our numbers like volume look like nothing because they're just that. But they also have hundreds of attorneys nationwide, bill their clients hourly. They don't run in the same functionality that we run in.
Yeah, it's different. But at the end of the day, Suits, to go back to your question, great show. I love it. Sometimes I go back and watch a few episodes. Love the Harvey's charisma and the way he was in the courtroom.
Didn't
his
love
confidence. I didn't see the spinoff, but
I didn't see it either.
Failed after
you didn't
a
watch
season.
any of it?
No, I didn't watch the spinoff. No.
Oh, but you watched Suits though.
Yeah.
Failed
show,
after a
great show.
season.
Great show. But it's definitely not real life.
Okay. And so now on the other side of that, the red tape question, like, how does a lawyer sidestep the red tape? Exactly. You know what I mean by this?
No,
this question?
elaborate.
So, like, when you're a business owner, especially when you're a starting business owner and you have certain things to do, like get staff, pay for permits, do this for the city, business insurance. Like, if you were to build your business as kosher as you're supposed to, like stack up the LLC, get the EIN, get your stuff, get your business bank account, whatever, with you understanding the law, knowing the law, doing lawful things, like, how does finances affect what you can actually achieve in the time frame that you should achieve it?
So I think, and I'll let Jeremy answer too, but I think a large part of that is at the beginning, knowing what each other's roles are, right? So for a lot of those things, EIN, all those technical things, I would say, Jeremy, go and do that, right? As far as at the beginning, like, let's be marketable and let's start an Instagram and let's get content going and let people know about us. That's where I would come in, right? Okay. But Jeremy was also controlling the finances at the time, because he was the CFO, I was HR, I was the marketing guy, all that, right? We would try to do it within our budget, right? And thank God we first came in as PIP attorneys, and that was always the game plan. We'll start off with PIP because PIP the money was faster.
What's a PIP?
So, like he told you earlier, he used to work for a firm where he represented doctors.
Okay.
So in Florida's a no-fault state.
Okay.
So what that means is when you get in a car accident, no matter who's at fault, the
Mhm.
first $10,000 always comes from your own insurance company.
Okay.
Right? Now, normally you'll call an attorney, hey, I need to go see a doctor, da da da. It will say, hey, there are a few doctors you may see. Obviously, you choose up to, we can help you find one.
Mhm.
That doctor will then bill your insurance company up to $10,000.
Mhm.
Geico, Progressive, whoever it is, right? And they will get reimbursed by the insurance company up to $10,000. Now, if that doctor doesn't get reimbursed or they get denied a certain bill or for some reason the insurance company underpays them, that same doctor may call Jeremy or they may call me and they say, hey, Vic, remember, the guy you sent us? I billed his insurance company. They didn't pay me. I know you represent him in his car accident, but can you represent me now in the claim against the insurance company so I can get paid correctly?
Is that conflicting?
No. It's two separate things.
Okay.
And for years it was, our bread and butter, right? Because when we would send a demand for that doctor, within 30 days, if they didn't pay, we would file a lawsuit. And then we would most likely settle within another 30 days. So instead of waiting 9 months, 10 months for that car accident case to settle, we were getting settlements within 30 days, 60 days. And the great part about PIP was that it was a 5-year statute of limitations. What does that mean? I have up to 5 years, or the doctor has up to 5 years to file a claim.
Yep.
So,
I just got hit with that. Yep.
So now the doctor would be like, hey, Jeremy, Vic, thank you so much. You got me paid. Look at this closet full of files that I got from other clients that have nothing to do with you, that I didn't get paid correctly on this, and that. And the way the statute was written at the time was even if I got the doctor $1, I get attorney's fees. So if it took me 10 hours to get that doctor $1, my doctor would get $1 and I'll get $3,000, $4,000.
Wow.
Now times it by 5,000 files that he wants me to go through and see if I can get him paid on. Right.
Sheesh.
So we started, and when we were at the last firm that we were at, that's what we did. We managed that department, the PIP department.
Gotcha.
So the game plan was always, let's use the PIP to build the bodily injury part, which is the car accident part. Because if we were to depend solely on the car accident part, it would take us a lot longer to take off because we would have to wait for that big case that's going to bring in millions of dollars, right? And it's very rare for young attorneys coming off, starting our own law firm to get a big case like that, right? Because most of the people that have a big case like that, they're going to go to the big name lawyer or the person that they trust or whatever the case may be, right? So it allowed us time to build our brand, build our firm, and now we get a lot of big cases. But we've established ourselves. We, built our brand. We built our reputation, and we built our respect in the community, which is the most important thing.
And so, outside of you guys both doing school in Florida, what made you stay in Florida to open the actual firm?
I was never leaving Florida.
I mean, he was raised here. I mean, it's when you go to school for law school, you learn a lot of the local laws, even though you don't intend to. Like it becomes certain classes are Florida state law, Florida this. So when you take a bar exam, you have both the multi-state portion, which is basically federal, it's the same as everywhere, and then you have a localized state portion. You have a better shot at knowing that, number one, from the law school you go to if you go in the state. He was raised here, so he ain't leaving here anyways.
Yeah.
But beyond that, you make a lot of connections in law school to people to other areas. You get used to areas, and a lot of people fear change. So are you going to go back to, most people will either go back to where they came from, their original hometown, which I didn't want to go back to the cold, or where you feel comfortable now. The only other home you've known for the past 4 years, which became Florida at the time. Now, I was in Miami, but I don't know. It's just I needed to be slightly slower, close enough to Miami so I can go do everything and have fun if I wanted to, but just be in a different type of day-to-day environment.
Now, that makes sense. And so now with hearing all of this and then even hearing the start time, at what point through the years or what year, or it may not even be just a year, but what pivotal moment in the year would you say you guys look at each other and you're like, oh, we're this is something serious, like super serious. Like you hit a point of growth where you start to feel like life is changing out of we got to stay in motels and all of this kind of stuff.
So it's funny because I get asked that question all the time. And
he thought we needed to be at the Ritz Day 1, so I don't know. I
was thinking the Holiday Inn, maybe. No, but I get asked this question all the time. But I think we were so focused on just doing what we needed to do. I think we were both so hungry, so eager, so passionate about it that people ask me like, yo, like, you ever sit back and like smell the flowers and see? Sometimes you forget, you know what I'm saying? And it's not until people like ask those questions that you're like, dang, like we really did that. Like we're really doing that, right? We're really having that impact. And for me, one of the biggest things that we were able to do that really to this day still touches my heart was we had an employee who she had a disability. She still has a disability, and she would Uber to work every single day. Didn't have a car, single mom, 2 kids. And at that time we had the funds, right? And I was like, I want to do something special for that person. So what we ended up doing was me and Jeremy together, we ended up buying her a car.
Wow.
And we do a Secret Santa every single year. We still do it. And for Secret Santa, we presented her that car in front of the whole staff.
Wow.
And for me, I think that was the moment where I was like, dang, like, I feel like I reached that level of success, because for me, everybody's definition of success is different, right? For me, success was that you're in a position where you can bless other people. It's not about money. It's not about the cars. It's not about the house. But when you can leave an impact on someone for the rest of their life, to me, that's success, right? So it was at that moment that I started realizing like, wow, like we can really, truly have an impact. We actually do have an impact. And then when I have people inboxing me saying, hey man, you're so inspirational. You guys are doing so much for the community. Like that's when I realized like, oh wow, like we're actually touching people's lives. We're actually, having an impact. And that probably happened for me, I would say about a year or two after we started our firm.
Okay. Is it the same experience for you?
I'm a little different. I think I don't know if I look at things differently to the point where I think everything is a journey, and it's always progress. I still to this day, like, I don't see myself as anything special personally. I believe we've done a lot. I think there's a lot more work to do, and there's a long journey ahead. And don't get me wrong, that's not me saying that like what we haven't done is great. We've helped a lot of people along the way. I think it's something that people in general should realize that they have the fortitude to do as well, because I think a lot of people doubt themselves. And in my mindset, I feel like what we've done takes effort and a lot of hard work. But I think those are two things that I think any individual has in them. It may not be on the surface level. It may not be readily available, and you've got to find a way to bring that out in you. But I think that a lot of people could do what we did if they put in that effort and have the mindset to want to help other people and help people grow along the progress alongside them. But a lot of people don't have that mindset.
Yeah.
So having that mindset and having done that is an amazing thing in and of itself. But I want to say that like in my thing, I take it with humility in myself that I think there's more work to do. And I just don't like to get too big of a head on my shoulders.
Makes sense.
Because I want to always be grounded in the work we do day in, day out. And I'd rather inspire people to do more. Like I'm the type of person, I don't like experiences for myself. Like my fiance at home, every night we'll watch like a movie, a show or something. I choose things I have seen almost 95% of the time, but things that she has not seen, because I want her to experience it, because I've seen it in the past. And I want to go through it with her and see her experiences to that and expose her to that. And that's the same thing we do with a lot of things when we bring people that we've grown up with alongside us to do different things or experience different things. I get more joy in bringing that experience to someone else than I do in having it myself. So I like that aspect, to be able to bring people alongside you. And I like to inspire other people to do, if they see what we've done as inspirational or as a thing, to take this as note that you can do it too. It may not be a lawyer or doing something like that, but that hard work and determination can lead you to where you want to go. And the big thing I tell people is, like Victor said, money's great. Money will come. If you become, I don't care what job it is, think about this in any job in the world. you become the best at what you can be of your job, your role, whatever it is, money will follow.
True.
Picture that to any job you think of. It will follow.
Mhm.
You become the best fireman, someone's going to take notice.
Mhm.
You become the best writer, someone's going to take your book.
Mhm.
You need to focus on yourself internally because you have that ability to bring yourself out to make yourself have a better stance in where you are in life if you feel that you're not at the place you want to be at.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing I think about is emotions. So what is happiness? What would you define happiness as?
Happiness to me is a journey, honestly. Because even when I'm happy, I can still not be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, happiness isn't just a feeling because, you know, I can be upset and still be happy in the moment as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I just define it as like a journey to discovery, a journey of what feels good, even when it doesn't feel good. You know, like the gym. It
Yes.
hurts, you know, but it feels good. It's
Correct.
weird. It's like that. It's a contradiction. And so that's what happiness is to me, a contradiction.
So I'm going to expound on that. What's fear?
Fear is, I usually go toward this acronym, like either face everything and rise or forget everything and run.
Mm-hmm.
And so fear is just really not understanding the unknown of your life.
Okay. So fear and happiness are both emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that key respect, what you answered is the same thing I'm about to say, but you went more of a specific example rather than how I'm defining it. Happiness is defined as a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
It is your personal reaction to an external stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is a reaction to an external stimulus. You choose to be afraid of something.
True.
It's internal. Something has taught you to be scared of it. Like some people are scared of spiders, others are not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because spiders are scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you
They are.
internally are recognizing it. You are.
Yeah.
You internally recognize it as a fear.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing as you control what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
You control what scares you.
Mm-hmm.
You control all of your emotions because emotions are an internal reaction to an external stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't need to understand that you are in control of your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in control of how you respond to that.
Very true. Very true. And, you know, everything that you're saying, and as we just continue the conversation, hearing the different dynamic, it makes me think, because I'm a business coach now. And so, you know, when I deal with other high-level entrepreneurs, you know, a conversation that I really have with them, because they make the money, just like you say, money comes easy and it goes, and, you know, millionaires. And I'll be one of the first people to sit them down and say, what do you actually want to do? Like, you know, business or name can be infinite, but what's your exit plan? Like, do you want to sell what you guys have, or is it something that you pass on?
I mean, we've never even talked about that because I've never looked at it as like selling at this. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Elon Musk says here's 10 billion. I'm out. Right? Yeah. But I've never thought about selling it because we've never done it for the money. Mm. We did it for the platform, for the freedom, for the for the ability to help change people's lives, to help people feed their families, to be able to have our own law firm and be in our own lane. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, sometimes we look at other law firms and, you know, as a competitor, you want to compare yourself. But I always tell people that me and Jeremy, Demesmin Dover, we're in our own lane. We do things different. Like, and I think us being different, I've embraced it. And I think the public has embraced it. And even attorneys sometimes get mad. Like, they'll look at Jeremy, like he was talking about haters. Someone was hating on him on Twitter like 2 days ago, you know, but that happens all the time, right? Because sometimes people are so upset that the impact that we're having at such a young age, or how quickly we've been able to have that impact in just 5 years. But at the end of the day, me and Jeremy had just always tried to do things the right way. Yeah. It's never been about money. My response was, it's never been about money. Jeremy's response kind of was, it's not about money. Yeah. Right. At the end of the day, yes, we have a lot more work to do. I'm a strong believer in that. And I think full circle, that answers your question as to why when people ask me, like, hey, I mean, like, you guys have done so much, we're always focused on what the next thing is, that sometimes we don't have time to step outside of the jar and read the ingredients, or step back out of the picture frame. I don't know if you listen to Inky Johnson. He's like, sometimes you just got to step out of the frame, right? Because when you step out of the frame and you sit back and you look at the picture from afar, like the picture looks great. But then when you get real close to the picture, you be like, oh, well, he messed up here. Or he's missing this, he's missing that. You know, for me, as long as the overall impact is positive, I have no problem with keep doing what we've been doing, right? In the community, is having that impact, being inspirational. As far as selling, I've never thought about selling. I don't want to sell. Like, if I sell, what am I gonna do? Go sit on the beach somewhere? Yeah, that's boring. Because I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it for the legacy. I was doing it for the community. I was doing it for that young black dude that thinks that he can't be a lawyer, and he's looking at me on TV, and he's like, "Dang, look at Vic. He's on TV." Or this dude who talked about me the other day, Michael. Michael Toussaint. He used to bag groceries with me. He did a post. I don't know if you saw it the other day, talking about like how he used to bag groceries with me, and now he's turning on a TV and he's seeing me on billboards. It's inspirational. That's my motivation. The money's great, but it's the people that are following behind me, or the people that are watching. You know, maybe the young Jewish kid is watching Jeremy and he's like, wow, look at this Jewish lawyer who's doing his thing in the midst of all the political drama around the world. He's able to find time to get back to the community and really care about the community genuinely, because we know and we understand that without community, without people, we're nothing, right? And the most important commodity in life is not money.
It's not.
It's people and time. You know, and if somebody gives you their time,
he was waiting for that time. That's what he's like to start with.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Well, some people say people. Yeah. Some people say time. I think it's both.
For me, it's definitely the time. And I feel like when you have the time, you can
get the people.
You can get the people, because without it, and that's the question that I was actually going to ask you guys next, like, because I can see like you guys are visionaries, dreamers. And in being a dreamer, you know, somebody had brought up to me the other day, and I don't even think this is the way he meant it, but, you know, no matter what you do in life, even with the good things or what we would consider good, you have to, it's always a give and take. Always. Or always something that you have to give up if you want to give something even. And it becomes this dynamic of how do you balance that? And, you know, I ultimately got to the answer of, I don't feel like there really is a balance, because I'm the same exact way. I want to influence the people. I want to reach the people. You know, I talk to people and they're like, you just got this building a year ago and now you're already doing something in Colombia. And I'm like, yeah, because when I went out there, seeing the culture, the people, you know, what they're missing, and no, they're not directly my people, but the environment that was conducive to me being a business owner, but the type of human that I want to be, I'm like, I want to open something here. And I want to open a skating rink. And so when they're like, oh, what kind of business are you opening? Knowing what I do for business now, I'm like, yeah, I want to open a skating rink. They're like, oh, you're a skater like that? I was like, no. But the community's missing it. When you talk to the people out there about like activities of what is there to create lasting memories, to create an experience, to create something that, you know, can be a memorable moment. If we look at movies like ATL or Roll Bounce or whatever, like there's prominent things that can happen in these spaces. And that's why I made something like this, where people capture memories and put it out there. I want to create things where people can create memories for themselves, whether it's on a camera or with each other. Yeah. And so that also comes with, it takes time. Yeah. And with that time that it takes, I lose the ability to connect with some of my loved ones in the way that I want to. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, you hit right on point, right? It's trying to find that balance, and sometimes it's hard, right? Something has to give, right? But for me personally, I've always told myself that I'm gonna find time. I'm married, 3 kids, right? So I'm always gonna find time for my family, because I've seen so many lawyers come and go, right? But I've also seen so many lawyers try so hard to fulfill their dream of whatever it is and lose themselves and lose their family in the process, right? So for me, it was always like, okay, well, if I want to have this dream, I want to start this law firm, I want to make sure that, yes, I'm protecting my dream, but I'm also protecting my family, because what's the point of attaining all of these things and losing all of the things and the reasons why you did what you did,
Yep.
right? You know, part of the reason why I want to be this lawyer and help people and stuff like that. I have 3 kids looking at me, and hopefully one day they can look back at dad's story and be like, wow, like dad was a great person. I mean, my daughter, she's 7, so she's starting to understand, you know, but I got a 2-year-old son and I got a 4-year-old son. So they're still learning, but I never wanted to lose my wife. I never wanted to lose my family in the process of building this. If I was going to lose them in the process of doing it, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it is difficult. It is hard to find that balance, but I make sure it's a priority of mine that I like when I come home, for example, I could have the most stressful day in the world. Right. But I know that when I come home, my 2-year-old, my 4-year-old, they don't care about what happened at the law firm.
They care about
or
dad.
what client fired us, or what $1 million case we lost. Like, they don't care about any of this stuff. They just want to spend time with dad, right? When my daughter has a cheer competition, she don't care about my mediation or my depot. She wants her dad to be at her competition, right? Because all her friends' dads are there, right? And she doesn't want to be the only one whose dad's not there, right? So I understand those things. My wife, I got to make sure I take her on date night, right? Because I don't want her to think that, you know, the work is more important than our relationship. Me and my wife, we've been together prior to me being a lawyer. I met my wife when I was first year in law school.
Wow.
So she saw the whole thing, right? She was there shooting in the gym. You feel me? So I want to make sure that she gets, you know, the fruits of that labor also. And I think that's another reason why me and Jeremy's partnership has been strong, because from the beginning, I was married through that partnership. So my wife calls Jeremy my work wife, right? So I would always have to deal with Jeremy in a way as if we were married.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not trying to get divorced. We got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we get in a situation where our marriage, our partnership is strong? You know, it's a give and take, right?
Yeah.
It's picking your battles. It's all of those things that you've got to do in a marriage that you got to do in a partnership. And sometimes you got to put the egos to the side, and you got to do what's best for the partnership. You got to do what's best for the marriage. And like you said, splitting the time is difficult, but if you really, really want to do something, you'll make it happen. And whatever
100%.
I got to do to make it happen, I make it happen. I make it work. Because if I was going to lose my family in the midst of gaining my new family, which is Jeremy, I wouldn't want to do it.
Mars.
I think everything Vic said is correct, but I think he glossed over the background to it. And the background to all of that is being able to be intimate, vulnerable, and transparent with your family, and understanding when you are spending too much time and they're too scared to speak up, or they don't want to bother you by saying, oh, well, you're dealing with this and this. You've got to be open to those conversations, and you've got to have those expectations, understanding between each other, which he's had. I just think he was going on the end all.
My wife speaks up.
No, he's discussing the end all of what the results of those conversations were. But to get to that point where he understands, I come home to basically tuck in my kids every night, know what time I got to be home. All those things were conversations that had to be had. And a lot of people are scared to get to those original conversations in their life, because they don't want to offend the other half. They don't want to offend the other partner, because they know that they're working hard towards their dream, or they're working hard at home, and they don't want to say certain things to piss them off in a way and disrupt that relationship. But without having that transparency, and without having that, you're going to fester problems internally that it's going to build up to the point where it's worse off than you had, where you are understanding of each other's positions. So to understand each other is to help each other build together. And that's the biggest key where you've got to start with. So you got to know where you're going. You got to know, basically, to get to where you're going, you got to know how you got there. And how you get there is having those discussions ahead of time to make those clear parameters and understand each other. So don't be scared of the tough conversations, even with your other half, your significant other, your family, etc., because that's what leads to problems if you cannot have that vulnerability and be able to take those critiques. Because every time they're discussing with you, they're being vulnerable at the same time, and you've got to understand that, rather than be defensive or be critical of what they're doing and more or less listen rather than only hear them to respond.
Yeah, you got to be able to receive that information. And some men, right, will be like, "Oh, I work and I bring the money, so you,"
Yes.
you know. And again, I've never wanted to lose my family, you know. So I've always been receptive to whatever, you know, criticism or whatever the case may be on both sides. If Jeremy has an issue, we talk about it. If my wife has an issue, we talk about it.
You kind of look like Kobe a little bit.
I've gotten that my whole life.
Yeah, like I'm really just looking at you, and I'm like,
I've
wait.
gotten that my whole life. Kobe and Mario are the two that I've got my whole life.
Oh, Mario too, yeah.
But yeah, but going back to what we're saying, like, you know, you have to be able to receive that. And I think a lot of men don't. You know, a lot of men have that mindset that nobody's gonna tell me what to do. Yeah. You know, I'm the one providing for the family and blah 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 blah. But I've never been that way. I'm not like that in my marriage. I'm not like that in my partnership. You know, me and Jeremy may argue about something, but we always have to find a solution. I may have to bring in a third, fourth, fifth party in to make sure that we find a solution, but we always have to find a solution. For me and my wife, we always discuss. We don't go to bed angry. You know, we have, just like any normal relationship, we have our disagreements, you know, but we talk about it and we communicate. And communication is key. And I want my kids to see me in those vulnerable moments. I want my kids to know that just like them, I have emotions. I want my kids to be able to express their emotions, because emotions are real, and I don't want them to get to a certain age and suppress their emotions. So they've seen their dad in every state, every emotion. I'm not embarrassed by that. I embrace that, right? Because I think that'll just make them stronger individuals.
No, 100%. And so now I want to shift more towards, you know, scaling. So this is the now, you know, we understand 2020 is when you started off, just you two. Yeah. You know, at what point do you start to hire more team members, and how many team members do you have now?
So right now, currently
70, 74.
Is it? I don't know the number.
Somewhere around.
I would say anywhere around 70 employees.
Okay, and that's all in Florida.
We have a few in Chicago.
Okay.
Because we have an office in Tampa, we have an office in Chicago, and we have an office in Fort Lauderdale.
Got it.
But throughout all three offices combined, we have about, that's including our marketing team, that's including everything. We have about 70 employees. There was a point where we had almost 100.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's when you consider the firm side. If you wanted to go, okay, we're going to add in the restaurants, the other sides, then you're looking at 200, 250. Like, but just on the firm side, focusing on that, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
So you guys use the firm to buy other businesses?
Yeah, I won't say we use the firm, but you know, obviously the money that we've made over the years, we've decided to invest in other places. Because I always told Jeremy, like, I'm a lawyer, but if you would have asked me what I do for a living, I wouldn't have told you I'm a lawyer. You know, I would have told you I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a philanthropist, you know, I'm a leader. There's so many other things that I do. Practicing law is just one of the things that I do.
Yeah.
Right. And I told Jeremy, I don't want to practice law for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get involved in other businesses. I want to own restaurants, franchises, land, real estate, you know, but for me, it was always important for me and Jeremy to do those things together, right? Because just like any partnership, if you start straying away and doing your own thing, Jeremy's going to be in Mexico working on a project that only has to deal with Mexico and only has to deal with Jeremy. And I'm at the law firm dealing on a project that has to deal with the both of us. That's not fair, right? Yeah. So now I'm going to be like, well, I want to go to Mexico and I want to have my own thing. And now we're all having our own things, and the main bread and butter is diluting and falling apart, right?
And so in this process, you know, because this day and age of entrepreneurship, or, you know, getting stuff, comes with a age of like credit and coaches. You know, how do you guys leverage that? And have you ever had like a mentor or coach to like walk you through, or somebody like financial advisor to be like, hey, this is what you guys should get into. This is what, you know, whatever. How do you make the decisions on what you guys actually do?
I had plenty of coaches. I don't know about Jeremy, but I can go on with my coaches. One of my main coaches is Inky Johnson. I listen to Inky all the time. Serendipity. Love Gary V. David Gobbins, Bruce Lee.
Are you talking about influences or coaches?
Coaches.
Like,
But
paid
there's a
for.
difference. 'cause
Yeah, so I don't have personal
Okay.
coaches that
Yeah.
I pay to coach, right?
Gotcha.
He's
I
like,
don't need-
you
I don't
hung out
need
with
to.
Bruce Lee?
Yeah,
But
I was like,
yeah.
Bruce Lee.
With this day and age, you don't need to, right?
True.
If I'm very passionate about becoming a better leader or becoming a better business person, their resources are there.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? The podcasts are there.
True.
You know, like Mel Robbins. Love Mel Robbins. You know what I mean? I can go on and on about different people that have helped shape me and to the person that you see before you today, and I'm still being shaped. I was listening to Mel on the way here, you know, and I'm always listening to those things because we can always get better and better and better. I'm just trying to sharpen my tools, right? I'm not saying that I'm the best leader. I know a lot of people think I'm a great leader, right? But there's always room for improvement. There's always ways to be better. And with a world that's always changing and marketing is always changing. I had someone ask me that question about marketing and scaling and how you're able to do that. And I said, well, first you have to understand that marketing is never stagnant.
100%.
So if you're marketing the same way you were marketing 5-10 years ago,
You lose
then
money.
you already lost.
Yeah.
Right? With AI and all the things that we have going on right now, if you're not able to leverage instead of paying for a coach, if you're not able to get on YouTube and watch a Mel Robbins, podcast, then you're behind, right? You know, so for me, it's always about adapting. It's always about changing. It's always about finding the next thing and being ahead of the game. And if you're not ahead of the game, you're going to get left behind. So going back to scaling, for us, it was always, okay, well, if we're starting to make money, if we're starting to generate business, and we could see it because Jeremy said most of our business receivables, right? So if we're getting all these cases in, we're going to need the personnel, because if you don't have the personnel to push the cases, you can have all the cases in the world, but it's going to cause problems. Customer service is going to be bad. People aren't getting their cases pushed through.
Yeah.
You know, your marketing is not going to be there. Like, you're not going to have a receptionist. You're going to have 300 calls coming in. Who's going to answer the phone? I can't answer the phone. Now you got 50 employees. Who's going to do the HR? You need an HR person to come in, because if you don't have an HR person to come in, you're not meeting the compliances. You're not doing all the things that you have to do, right? You need an operations person to come in, because me and Jeremy are doing a podcast.
Yeah.
We can't be at the firm, right? We're growing the business. You know, who's out there shaking people's hands? We got to have to get marketers on the street, boots on the ground. It used to be me and Jeremy. Now it's other people, right? So understanding business, understanding marketing, understanding how to scale a business is very, very important in your success long term. Because if not, you'll get left behind by other businesses.
Facts.
Yeah. I mean, it's learning to, first of all, look back at yourself and be able to separate out roles and delegate them without taking it personally. Because most of the time, when you have to give a role off that you've been handling, you're hesitant. You're scared that they're not going to fulfill it in the same way. They're not going to do it as well as you. And you've got to come to terms that most likely you're correct, but you can't be everywhere. You can't do everything at every single moment, because then you will never scale. And you have to learn to trust in people and be able to advise and guide them to do it in a similar way that you would want it to be done. It may not be identical, but it can be taught to be a similar outcome where it frees you up to do what you need to do. So as we free up each individual task role, like he just named off multiple tasks that we used to do ourselves, you hand those off one by one by one by one, so you have free time to keep doing what you need to do on the backside. And you've got to build a team that you trust. It's having trust in them, because everything can be taught. People can learn if they're willing and wanting to learn, but you've got to have that right mindset. So when you hire people, they tell you got to hire slow, fire fast. Now, I think at first we probably didn't follow those parameters, and when you scale a lot of things, you end up scaling a little too quickly at points, which you then learn to refine it. So at the beginning, you're scaling to basically appreciate the workload, and then once you have that ability, you have the time to step back and now analyze. Yeah. And you're analyzing what you have in front of you and saying, okay, well, if we are at this point, we now have more time to look at this very delicately, rather than before we just knew we had work that needed to be fulfilled. Now we're sitting here, okay, person by person, let's take some analytics, let's take some growth. Let's basically make this more of a understanding and an analytical model rather than a guessing game. And when you have that availability and free time, because you delegated everything, you can make those adjustments and bring it to the right team. Not the largest team, but the right team. And that's what you need to learn, is a lot of people end up growing too quickly, which you can do if you can learn to refine it afterwards. Yeah. A lot of people fail to do that refinement because they don't want to fire X person. They've become attached to X person. They could be the worst employee, but you need to get rid of them. I'm sorry to say that you've got to learn to separate out the business side from the personal side. And you've got to be able to deal with and analyze a person based on their basically ability to assist the company, or are they being more detrimental to not only, it's not about only their workload, it's to what they do to the other staff. How they affect everyone else's workload, how they affect how everyone else works in there, how they affect their emotions of everyone else in there. You could be, if you're a person who's just a negative person, you're going to cause a chain reaction to everyone else in that room or in that building, anyone else you touch, which will slow down their workability. And that's the utility of a person, is valued based on what they bring to everyone else, not just what they bring to the table on their own workload. Because your job has to be to grow others and help others learn, rather than just do the work yourself.
And I think after, sorry to cut you off, but I think after having some time, like after a few years, you've now collected data to make those, like those comparisons, to make that analysis.
Yeah.
Right. It's hard to make it right away. You can't, like, you have nothing to base it off of. But after a few years, you're able to do those things. When you're pushing culture, which is one of the things that we push, we don't care how productive you are. If you're bringing down the culture, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? Because people just don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
You're making other people quit. And as great as you are, we can't do this with just you. So if other people don't want to work with you or work for you, that's a problem, right? If you're a leader who is scared to share information or knowledge because you're scared that next person's going to replace you, then you're not a leader, right? Because for me, a definition of a leader is someone who can turn other people into leaders, right? Because if you're not going to take the time to turn other people into leaders, how are we going to scale? We only scale with a bunch of leaders running different departments, having employees under them, helping these employees become better and better, growing them, right? Creating a culture that we created and instilled into the firm, into their own departments. And that's how we're able to do it the Demesmin and Dover way, right? If you don't want to do it the Demesmin and Dover way, you want to do it your own way, I love you.
Yeah.
You just can't work here.
No, and that goes into like my last question, which is like the ethos of your company that you've created, you know, understanding the departments, understanding the roles, understanding the breakdowns, understanding creating leaders. You know, what would you guys describe as like your tangibles and intangibles as far as like SOPs and what you're looking for to add to not only your bottom line, but what really makes your company different from every other company or every other firm?
I'll start off. For me, it goes back to the pillars of our firm, which is love, respect, you know, and I think that's what we've been able to create at the firm. Most of the employees know that, they feel that, right? It's always about the experience. It's never really about anything else. It's about how you make people feel, right? It's the Maya Angelou. It's not what people say, what they do, it's how you make them feel. So whether they're an employee, whether they're a client, whether they're a colleague, whether it's someone that interacts with us, we want to leave a lasting impression on that person so that they remember how we made them feel. When we leave here today, you're probably not going to remember half the things we said, but you might remember how we made you feel in some of the things that we talked about, right? You may feel like you know me and Jeremy just based off of our interaction, which is just an hour and a half, right? But at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And I think that's the ethos of our firm, is that love, that respect, that unity, that, you know, working together, working as a team. I've never really yelled at any employees, ever, I don't think. To the point where when I'm not happy and smiley and, you know, because maybe I got 100 million things on my mind,
They think something's wrong.
Or they think somebody's about to get fired. It's like, what's wrong with Vic? You know, but I mean, like every other person, we all have our days, right? But it's important as a leader to be able to compartmentalize those emotions, to be able to compartmentalize those feelings, because at the end of the day, those people, you're spending more time with them than they are with their own families, right? And we strive on making that workplace an enjoyable place. We strive on making people enjoy their time at work, looking forward to coming to work. Some people have personal issues at home, and the best part of their day is being at work, right? So being able to understand that as a leader, being able to understand that as an employer, is just creating that atmosphere to maybe enhance creativity, or to produce, right? Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to production, right? We want people to produce, but we want people to be comfortable producing in a lovely and respectful way, right? So I get mad at my leaders when I hear them yelling at people. I'm like, did I ever yell at you? Why are you yelling at them? There's a way to communicate without having to demean, without having to belittle, without having to make person feel less than, right? There's that way of leadership. And if I led a certain way and you gravitated to my leadership, then why are you leading a different way? Right?
Bars.
But sometimes it's hard because some people, they think leadership is you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. You know, and me and Jeremy, we're the type of people that we get our hands dirty.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you ain't doing this for me, you doing this with me. Sometimes I don't even call my employees, I call them my coworkers.
Yeah.
Because we in this together. Because without our employees, we wouldn't be able to do what we've been able to do. And I stand by that to this day. We had some great employees. We built a great culture. We built a great atmosphere. And for me, that's way, way, way more important than the amount of money we settle for our clients. It's important to the clients how much money they walk away with. But to me, it's the culture that we built. It's the platform that we built. It's the impact that we've had in the community. And again, my biggest thing is when you leave here today and you ask someone about Victor Demesmin, I care about what that person says about me. I care about my reputation. You know what I mean? Two things I don't ever break is my word and my balls, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I care about my word. I keep my word.
Yeah.
And you can go around town, it'll be very, very hard. I'm not saying impossible, right? Jeremy has haters, as you can see on Twitter, right? But for the most part, I would say I'm happy more at the fact that we've developed and we've created a great reputation for ourselves, for the firm, and for the brand as a whole.
No, that's fire.
I think like when he said you go back to the ethos of it all and that we built a culture and like internally we call them our family. So it's like our firm family.
I like
that. Because and like people have like they have their friends, they have their family, and then they have what's they like their close friends that they call their chosen family. If you're someone who doesn't really have a close family, this is our chosen family. So I don't think there's a single person, I mean, maybe not like since we started, maybe after we started, that we've taken an interview to hire someone with just us, without another member of that family in that room to make that decision to accept that person into our chosen family. That they all need to feel heard, and we need to have a consensus between multiple people in that group to say, we want this person to join our family. Because you've got to bring in outside people. When you hire people, that's just part of business. But when you're bringing in someone into your chosen family, that's life, and that's different than how you should take a normal business, because we are making this our culture, and the culture can't be broken when we bring in someone that people know will break that culture. Yeah. So it's not always our decision per se. We take it with, we always have the ultimate end all say, but we don't do that on our own. We take that with other people that we trust and have put in the roles that we feel can be leaders in that family, to basically be there to protect the family. So while we may see something in someone, they see something else, and we have to come to that consensus saying, hey, that person's not right for this, or that person is right for this because of this reason. So making them know that they have part in choosing the people that are alongside them on this journey, which we hope is for as long as they want to be there, and it could be for 5, 10, 20 years, that they're choosing the right people to support them, support the company, and support all of their family around them.
No, this is, what I learned here today, me personally, and a lot of people are like, what motivates you to keep doing these interviews and do them as consistent? Because we literally, unless we plan to, and even then, it's not even really a miss, every week for the past 3 years, an episode drops every Wednesday. And so the consistency of that is from a couple different messages, a couple different emails. And I usually also do giveaways and stuff mixed into it, like BB Sundays. I'll buy tickets and I'll be like, hey, if you watch to the middle of the episode, we're sending 6 people to BB Sundays. We're sending this, we're sending that, we're doing this, we're doing that. We're, whatever, fill in the blank. We're buying this book for you from this author or whoever's on the show, whatever they have. And for me, a lot of people would be like, Rich, you should talk about more current events, or you should talk about more drama oriented stuff, or you should talk about more friction based conversations. And I'm like, the name of my brand is Attractive Mindset. You know, what you put out is what you get back. And from the people that have sent us messages on the back end, because some of my episodes will only get, 300 views, some 1,000, some more. Our monthly listeners audio wise are good because it mixes with international. So we might get like 10,000 streams on that a month. But in that 300 viewerships, I'll never forget, there's this one episode where a young lady living in Istanbul, she was gonna close down her coffee shop, and one of the guys, he opened a coffee shop along his journey, and the struggles he went through with that, and then ended up where he is today. She was like, man, I watched the episode, and it wasn't even an episode about coffee, but hearing his story, what he went through, how he got through it, made me keep my shop open longer. And because I did, I met somebody, a client or a customer who came in, and they changed my business forever. Now I have 2 stores. Nice. And then she sent a picture holding coffee, and she's like, if you're ever in Istanbul, coffee on me. Nice. And that kind of moment, me just having a podcast where, you look at people's Instagrams, and I'll be honest with you guys, like, from me seeing you everywhere, as far as like, I see you guys' name everywhere, I had this premonition or this notion. I was just like, oh, these guys are just rich money guys, like whatever. But that, again, that is from the perspective because I don't know who you are. And then seeing the level of success that you have. Sure, I have my own level of success, but imagine from like a everyday lifestyle where somebody sees your name everywhere, they start to automatically, because this is how society's wired, think a certain thing about you. And that's why I'm like, I want to create a platform where entrepreneurs, high-level entrepreneurs can come on and you really get to see who they are. You get to see who you're doing business with. And no, it's not as juicy with the, drama or crazy conversations, but you have no idea who's watching this and what needed to change inside of that person or heal inside of that person to say, oh, wow, they're human. They're really human. And some or most that come on here actually care about humans. There's rarely ever people I get on here that do a lot of volume with, financial means or own a lot of things that don't do it for the people. And that's the narrative that I want to break, that just because people make different amount of money from doing XYZ doesn't make them what TV or media tries to portray of, oh, this person is just super materialistic. They don't care about the environment or anything around them or whatever. And so I say all of that to say, I appreciate both of your time just coming on the show, being able to give your story on what you went through, how you got to where you are today. And, for the people that want to know more about you, might even need your services or something someday, where could they find you guys at?
Guys, Victor Demesmin here from Demesmin Dover Law Firm. Obviously, I hate, to say it, but if you ever need us, right, hopefully you don't, right? If you've been in an accident, slip and fall, medical malpractice, we're here to serve you guys. Been in the community for quite some time. You guys know who we are. You know what we do. You know how we move. The number is 866-954-MORE. That's 866-954-6673. You can find us on Instagram, youraccidentattorneys.com, on the website. We're very accessible. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on TikTok. We're everywhere. And like Rich said, you can't miss us. Demesmin Dover Law Firm. Victor Demesmin. Love, peace, respect. Well, before I tell them where they can find us, I appreciate you having us on the show. For me and Jeremy, it's always like a pleasure for us to come on these shows because even though we have reached a level of success, right? Some people won't even come on a show, right? Mm-hmm. But like you said, there is that young person that's watching. They might not even be young. Mm-hmm. They could be 35 years old. Yeah. Like Gary Vee says all the time, at 33.
I'm 36 and I'm young. So don't you be coming at me like that. Don't you come for me like that.
Gary Vee says it all the time. He was 35 years old living in the basement. Mm-hmm. He didn't get to where he was until he was in his 40s, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no age behind it. You could be 60 years old not knowing what you want to do with your life. When I was in law school, there was a 60-year-old in my class. She wanted to be a lawyer. It's never too late. Yeah. It's never too late to start, right? And yes, starting our own thing, yes, it's scary. Everything in life is scary. It's risky. I listen to Jim Rohn too. Everything's risky. You know, not doing it is risky too,
100%.
because you don't know what's going to end up happening to you, right? But for me, I could never live my life not knowing what could have happened if I would have started a firm. I would rather go through the fear and see what ends up happening on the other side, right? So for anyone that's listening, anyone that has a dream, anyone that has something that they're thinking about doing, my advice to you would be just do it. And if you're struggling, if you're having any issues, my advice would be keep going, because we've all had to go through the ups and downs. You know, whether it's through our lives, through the businesses, there are things that we've had to go through. Like, I didn't even want to talk about some of the things we've had to go through, you know, but it's just par for the course. It's part of the journey. It makes you stronger. It makes you wiser. It makes you better. It doesn't get easier. You just get better, right? You've experienced some of those things. You've gone, like, now I could see something be like, nah, that's not.
Yeah.
That's bull. He's a shit talker.
Yeah.
He's BS.
Yeah.
He's just talking, you know. When we first started, we were just doing anything, right? We were just trying to get on, right? But then you get to a certain point, like Jeremy says, where you have to refine those things, right? So again, my biggest message is anybody could do anything you want to do in life. But the most important thing is when you actually do whatever it is that you do, make sure you help people. Make sure you bring people along. Make sure you have an impact on people's lives. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how much money you make. It's not about how much assets you obtain. It's how much impact you've had on people's lives.
Facts.
Because none of this stuff we own, it's all borrowed. Everything is borrowed. No matter what you can say you own 10 houses, borrowed. The only thing that you truly own are moments in time, memories. So share those memories with your loved ones. Share those memories with your partners, your friends, because none of us getting out of here alive. So if you got a dream, shoot for it. Achieve it. I always help people. If people reach out to me, I'm not one of those like, no, you can't know how I did it. There's no secret juice. There's no secret sauce, right? All you got to do is put out good energy, be a good human, work hard, put in the effort, help people, and everything will come back.
Boom.
Money will come if you do things the right way. If you put in the time, if you put in the passion, things will happen. Me and Jeremy, we're no God. You know what I'm saying? We're normal human beings. We put on our pants the same way you do. Brush our teeth and I brush my teeth. But you know, we do the normal things, and I just want people to know that we're not special. Anybody can do what we've been able to do. But if you really want to know the true person, see who that person is when they have money. See how much people they help when they have money. See what impact they have on the community when they have money. Because all money does, it doesn't really change the person. It enhances the person. So if that person was an asshole before they had money, guess what? They're just going to be an asshole with a lot of money. So I never wanted to be an asshole with a lot of money. I wanted to be that nice, young, you know, I'm still young too. Black don't crack, don't get twisted. You know what I'm saying? I'm still young, right? But at the same time, I've always, like Jeremy said in his thing, I've always wanted to help people. I get more out of helping people than them helping me. It's always been that way. It's hard. My wife always says it's so hard for her to get me gifts because you can get me anything. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I care more about what I get you and how I make you feel when I do those things, right? So if you want to find us, Jeremy, tell them.
No, I'm gonna first look at me. Look, straight in the eyes. I brush these clean. No, but you can always find us. Like, we're accessible people. Like, people think like you can like. No one's managing my Instagram. No one's handling. I'm not a celebrity to the world where you can't reach out. If you want to reach us on any of it, we're always on Demesmin Dover on Instagram, TikTok. We're putting our usual videos up there. They're not typically like most law firms. Just have some fun with it. That's the whole point. If you don't have fun along the way, this whole journey is for nothing. Yeah. So you can always reach us on there. We have our website, youraccidentattorneys.com. We're available basically 24/7. Anytime you need to call us at 866-954-6673. Someone going to answer. I don't know if they're a robot or not, but we don't know yet. But we're going to see. But this world's evolving. So like I said, like we've said this multiple times, I don't want to speak to someone like I'm speaking to you, telling you what to do. Like I've done more things than you or anything. It's just one human talking to another, telling you, if you want to do something, do it. Stop. I say fear is the one thing that you are keeping yourself from doing that thing is fear, then you need to get past that fear. And like I've said, you control that emotion. Stop letting that fear control you and understand that you control your ability to take that leap. A lot of people wait to a point, and if you don't do something, you may regret that more than having done and failed it because you never took that shot and got to see what would happen in life. So make sure you take that shot and go after it. Like in my mindset, I've just had a hunger for growth. Whether it was law firm, whether it was something else, like I always want to keep moving. I'm moving all. I think I'm probably ADHD. I don't know, but I'm always moving.
He is.
100% moving, whether it's in business or not. That's who I am as a person. Now, whatever an individual wants in their life and what their goals are, they've got to take that shot because, like you said, like we've all said, the only thing we don't have forever is time. So every single moment, time is depleting. Every second you have is the shortest time until your death.
Yeah.
And you got to leave him with Inky Johnson. Inky Johnson said, may God bless you with success, but may God also bless you with failure to temper that success. Right?
100%.
So that, and it's not his, I think he quoted somebody else, but I got it from Inky. And really what that means is like, yeah, we have successes, but we have failures too. And failures sometimes are good. It might not feel good in the moment, right? But when you look back at it, it's like, oh, good thing that happened because that actually made me do this.
I feel like you learn more from failure sometimes.
But was that during your one-on-one coach sessions with him?
Yeah. It was, and you know how much I paid for it? Free 99. Thank you, Inky. I love you, brother.
No, but there you guys have it. Listen, this is another episode of Attractive Mindset. And trust me, guys, if you want to learn how to just be a better human being, these are the people that you got to look towards. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that comes on this platform is human. And these are the responses that we look for. And so if you know somebody that just needs an uplift, somebody that wants to find a way to do things better or find a way to grow, you know, make sure you share, like, subscribe. And this is your host, Moneybag Rich. And at the end of the day, we always say we look good, we live good, life is good. Talk to us, we talk back. And we out.